What's up, everybody? It's Hadrada here again with another tournament for the CIV3 community, and it's going to be another one for the MPT lovers out here. I'm glad to bring you the MPT Strategy Masters event that will be played in October of this year. So, the overall tournament is going to be a 3v3 tournament. Teams sign up with 3 members and can list 1 additional player as a substitute. The schedule will be, assuming that 4 teams end up signing up, we're a bit flexible with the number of teams. The intended schedule is the semifinal 1 in the first weekend of October, the second semifinal on the second weekend of October, and the third weekend of October would be the finals weekend. Every one of these series would be a best of 5 on custom maps, and these maps will be presented in the next video on this channel, so you'll have to wait a little bit for that. The version of the game is going to be slightly modified MPT, and as I said, it's going to be a 3v3 tournament. The prize pool is up to $120, but really depends how many teams and players we end up getting into the event. Right now I'm intending 4 teams, but we can also do this with 2 teams or with 3 teams. And we can also run this event or similar events multiple times in case there's a huge demand in terms of signups. But for now, we're aiming for a 4-team tournament. The modifications to the regular ladder OB-MPT version are as follows. 72 turn limit is a standard implementation I've made for pretty much all of my tournaments. The spectator setup with everything like that is also standard. There's going to be settlers again on islands that the players will just have to fortify so that they can't pop settlers from huts, and the tax are going to be a little bit cheaper. All of that is standard tourney stuff that I've implemented in tourneys before. The new things are going to be that we're going to play with 15 civs available to pick from, and every one of these civs has a duplicate civ. So there's going to be 2 of every civ, right? I've copied each civilization that is available for the MPT here. And so we're going to have 15 playable civs, but each civ exists twice, so we can get the same civ in both teams in the same game. The list of civs is this one. It's all the normal MPT civilizations with Byzantines and Carthage just enabled like they are in regular MPT, no changes. And then there's also Korea, which I've also not changed at all. It is exactly the way that it is coded in the OB-MPT file. I've only enabled it to be picked. It's an agricultural and scientific civilization with that Hwacha unique unit coming into play at mathematics. But yeah, that is also just like Byzantines and Carthage, unchanged. I've only enabled it. So that's 15 civs, and each of those again exists twice. For the map pool of the tournament, we're going to have in all of these best of 5 series, if it comes down to a 5th game, that game will always be played on a randomly generated MPT map that I will have pre-selected and adjusted for spectator purposes, but it's going to be a fully randomly generated map that neither team will have any info about. For the first 4 games in every series, though, teams will get to pick from these 6 other maps right there. The names of these maps are on screen: Alesia, Clontarf, Greenland, Iceland, Myeongnyang, and Silk Road are the 6 maps that I've prepared for this tournament. I will showcase them in the follow-up video, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. Now to the rules for the best of 5s. Now we've already discussed how there's 7 maps, and obviously the random map is always played as the 5th map, so there's 6 custom maps that are prepared. Out of these 6 custom maps, both teams will get to save 1 map that will for sure be able to be picked in the series, and then both teams get to ban 1 map that cannot be picked in the series. That then leaves us with 2 more maps that also will be included in the series map pool, And so we've got, for the series, we've got the randomly generated map that will always be played as map number 5. And then we've got the 2 saved maps that are able to be picked for the series, and the 2 leftover maps in the end also go into that pool. Then we'll flip a coin for which team gets to pick the map for the first game, and after game number 1, the losers will get to pick the next map freely, except they can't pick one of the 2 banned maps, and they can't pick a randomly generated random MPT map, because that will only be in game 5. So that's going to be the map pick rules. For the civilization picks, the rule is as follows. There's exactly 15 civs available, as we said, and there's 5 games. 3 players on every team means that we've got exactly enough civs for all the players in all the games. The rule will be as follows. In every best of 5 series, so in the semifinals that you play or in the finals that you play, you can only pick every civilization once per series, once per weekend. Meaning that you have to budget really well and plan ahead really well with the civilizations going into the games. So that means you can pick freely whichever civ you want in game number 1, but you can't pick the civs again in the series later on. And the civ draft will work as follows. Both teams get to select one civ without knowing what the other civ selected and what the other team selects. Then both of these picks will be revealed to their opponents. Then they will get to pick their second civ, again blind, and that will be revealed once both teams have locked in their pick. And the same thing for the third civ. So successively 3 civs will be picked, and both teams will go into the game with those 3 civilizations. Then, however, both teams will get to select their starting locations for all 3 of their civs. So you will pick, for example, Celts, Hittites, and Koreans. And then you get to say, okay, I want my Celt player to spawn here, I want my Korean player to spawn here, and I want my Hittite player to spawn over there. And that will then also be revealed to the opponent. So you will have to make those civ picks and those starting location picks blind, not knowing where the opponent chooses their civs to spawn at. That being said, you can't just randomly pick starting locations. You have to select one of the starting locations that is assigned on the maps. It will become clear once we actually take a look at the maps. If you have any questions about the rules in terms of these civ picks or the map picks or anything, you can just put them in the comments or reach out to me anywhere. The schedule on these 3 weekends is going to be the same every time. We're going to play the first game of every series Friday evening in the US or at midnight in Central Europe. And we'll have game 2 and 3 Sunday evening or Sunday night. And game 4 and 5 is going to be, game 2 and 3 Saturday evening or Saturday night. And then game 4 and 5 will be on Sunday afternoon US or evening Europe. The times can be checked right here. And again, game 4 and 5 obviously only if necessary. It is a best of 5 after all, and if one team wins the first 3 games, then the series will be done with. But the times are these ones. So these times you'll have to make sure you can play at. Take notes here and make sure that you double check before signing up, because they are not flexible, obviously. To the intended prize pool, again, I'm planning right now with 4 teams, and every team can have up to 4 players. So assuming that both the first place team and the second place team have 4 players on their team, that would make for a $120 prize pool. I would pay $20 for every player on the winning team and $10 per player on the second place team. If the amount of players or the amount of teams in the tournament is different from what I'm planning with right now, then maybe adjustments would be made right here. Okay, that's all you kind of need to know. Again, just to recap for the sign-up requirements, you need to gather a team of 3 players as your starting players. And you have the option to add 1 player as a substitute player. You can also add that substitute in later on. That isn't necessarily a requirement for signing up. Just make sure to send me an email to this address, sllfj@gmx.de, and make sure to put in there which weekends your team can play on. You have to be able to play in the final weekend, obviously, but maybe you can only play on semifinal weekend 1, but you couldn't make the second semifinal. So let me know if there's a restriction like that one. Also, let me know if you're flexible and if you're able to play on any of the 3 weekends. So yeah, make sure to add that in the email. Say which of the 3 players on your team are the starters and who's the substitute. That will only become relevant in case there's a dispute over who gets to play. And then designate a captain and a second replacement captain, so that I always know who is in charge of your draft, who is in charge of selecting the maps and the civilizations for your teams ultimately. That way there will be less confusion. So these 3 infos, put them into an email and make sure that your team really is able to field 3 players to any of these games that I've announced. You can again check the schedule page for all the times and dates. But that's it for this video. I will post a follow-up video with the maps where I can show you guys what maps we're going to be playing on. There's some wacky ones in there for sure. And I'll put my email link where you have to send your email in order to sign up to the tournament. I will put that into the description. Anybody that is on the CIV3 ladder can sign up to this. Any CIV3 player really that is in the group chat at least, or is in any way part of this community. Even if you hate me, you can still sign up to this event. It's fine. I'll gladly host the event either way. And I hope to receive some plentiful emails here of sign-ups. You have all the time in the world to sign up. By the way, don't rush this. Really make sure that you've got a team that's able to play. The event will only start in October, so you've got a lot of time to prepare until then. And yeah, looking forward to it. So have fun with this and stay tuned for the map showcase video as well.